All right, welcome. We've got cryptograffiti, cryptograffiti, depends, tomato. Um, how you say his name? I've heard it a couple different ways. Is there a preference to how you hear your name said?
I don't care. Either one, man. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Welcome. You are the first official guest on Bitcoin Weird. Yes, air horns.
Honor and privilege.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, so wanted to kind of run down real quick and talk about your latest venture. You were in Colombia, Venezuela border, and I kind of wanted to maybe if you could just elaborate kind of what that art project was. It was pretty crazy looking from all the tweets I saw.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been back a week now, and this was a mural project that I did in Cucuta, which is the border city in Colombia that borders Venezuela. And it stemmed from me just wanting to get more involved and learn more about the situation in Venezuela in general. Oftentimes I'd find myself, and I'm sure some of the listeners, were in some sort of social setting where you'd lean on the crisis as a reason why this technology is important. And it just kind of gave me a weird feeling. I didn't like not understanding really what was going on and using that as a crutch. And I'm a very visual person, and I believe in using as many of the senses as possible to try and really experience different things. And so wanted to get involved, and so I just started learning more about it. I listened to podcasts and met with people, and one of the people that helped instigate this was a Venezuelan VC who's now here in the States. He's a client, and we were talking about a commission using some of his old bolivars and bond notes from different eras of collapses in Venezuela. And so it was just top of mind. I was thinking of ways to use these different bolivars for his project. Also, collaborative art was very top of mind. That Black Swan piece that I did recently was, in a way, collaborative in that it involved a lot of different people participating. And because of the subject matter of my art, it's really like rooted in activism. The more people that you can get involved, the more likely you are to help kind of spread what the idea is. Mm-hmm. So on one hand, I had this situation with Venezuela and wanting to do something, wanting to get involved, but not really knowing where to start.
So that was in your head, and then you just randomly met a guy that had all these bolivars. You just talked to met him at a party or something, and he let you know he had a bunch of bolivars?
He was a client who I'd worked with previously, and so he'd wanted me to come by and stop by his house and do something and sort of brainstorm about doing something with these pieces that he had displayed in his office. And so in thinking through that project, that's kind of where this Bolivar-centric art-related piece came to be. And so then I didn't want to work on his project without knowing more about the situation as well. And so I just started reading a bit, and then thinking more, like if we were to get more people involved with an artwork, going back to the collaborative side, what would that look like? And then, so he's a very well-connected individual, and so I dreamt up this idea with this mural, and then the next thing I know, he's got me on the phone with the CEO of AirTM, Ruben, and we were talking about trying to make this happen, and Ruben was all about it. And we initially had talked about late April, which would coincide with the anniversary of the inauguration of Maduro. And so that was sort of a placeholder date. And then all of a sudden, everything really came to the forefront really quickly with the crisis. So that got fast tracked, and we sort of went from there. We wanted to try and get it done sooner rather than later. And there was a couple other deadlines we wanted to hit. Being able to bring the piece to the Satoshi Roundtable conference to start fundraising. So it just came together really quickly. And Yeah, so that's sort of the genesis behind it, and really happy with how it turned out. There was a lot of moving parts, and it was first time I'd worked with with teams in a long time, so that was refreshing and challenging and great. We were able to put together in a short amount of time an event that helped introduce crypto to a lot of the locals in Cucuta who were primarily Venezuelan refugees. We gave them a hands-on like education in terms of what this new form of money is all about and why it might be beneficial for them. We gave them Bitcoin, and they were also able to buy supplies at the event to sort of complete the circle of the transaction and experience firsthand what it meant to use cryptocurrency. And yeah, it was it was a really rewarding kind of heavy experience just to immerse myself and be in it with everyone around. It was emotional and rewarding, and yeah, a lot of work and just a roller coaster. There were times where it was very close to not being able to be pulled off. For those listening who aren't familiar with how it panned out, there was an online interactive component to the project. So in person, there was this 11-foot by 11-foot plus or minus mural, but online you can see the live stream of the mural and also donate by clicking on an interactive version that was on the website. So if you wanted to bring down this image of Maduro, which was comprised of 1,000 different bolivars, then you can click on one of the bolivars online and then donate some crypto. And then in person, we would then have the people of Venezuela take down that particular bolivar that was mapped to the mural. So to give this sort of physical and digital experience that allowed the people to bring him down. That was kind of the genesis. The initial hashtag around it was Juntos lo tumbamos, which means together we bring him down. And yeah, that was like the general concept. And so a lot of stuff going on. Like when we got there, just the wall. So it was within a school that was in disrepair. So some of the proceeds were earmarked towards helping to rebuild this school. And
who found the wall?
Yeah, so there, Crypto Conserje was a local outfit that we partnered with that was responsible for doing the educational component. And a gentleman who won't be named due to safety reasons, he was just an amazing individual. We couldn't have done it without him. He found the location. He helped organize many of the components of the project, and just like a good soul. He's one of these guys where you just like see immediately when you see him smiling, you're like, oh, I would trust my life to this guy. Mm-hmm. But verify. Awesome guy. He was the one who, when I ended up taking some bolivars back home with me and was getting the shakedown by the Colombian police because they were in plastic bags, he ran home and got his suitcase and literally didn't give me the shirt off his back. He gave me the suitcase out of his closet to make it happen. But so yeah, it was very slim pickings. We wanted to, location-wise, we wanted it to be close to the border and where people were in need and could benefit from our help. And so it ended up being across from the church, which provides food and shelter for new refugees that have come over the Simon Bolivar Bridge. And so the location was great. The wall itself was not. And so, just hours before trying to pull this thing off, we get there and with a hammer and chisel are trying to flatten out this surface in order to put up the mural. And so that was just one of many ways that there were variables, and luckily it ended up working out.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so the mural was made up of about 1,000 boulevards. Is that about right?
Yeah, yeah,
You painted or did some kind of stencil over top of it?
yeah. So it's painted boulevards that pieced together. There were 12 different panels, and so one of the challenges was also just shipping this thing. So rather than trying to do it in person and not knowing the different time constraints and the safety of the location, um, how best could we get this thing up in a short amount of time to help minimize risk, um, and also minimize just the risk of shipping in general. And so we came up with this panel, like these 12 different panels, which when disassembled would fit into like an oversized luggage for the plane. So it went up in parts and all pieced together to ultimately become 1,000 different boulevards for the portrait.
And when the people on the website you were talking about earlier donated to the cause, what was the hashtag called?
Hashtag airdrop Venezuela, which is still ongoing, by the way. This was part of a larger um, campaign that AirTM, who I should definitely be mentioning, they were the exchange that helped distribute the cryptocurrency. They've had this ongoing campaign to try and raise $1 million to distribute crypto, and it's going. I believe it's going to be ending here soon, but the actual crypto distribution will happen in April. A lot of great people that have been supporting it. Yeah, so it was great to work with them. They're people who just are walking the walk. They're the leading Latin American exchange, and really enjoy working with them.
That's what's up. So every time somebody donated to that, then they pick the pixel looking thing, which looked like behind you, the dollar bills, take it off, and then how were you alerted that that one was removed? And then you take it, and then how did that process go where you took it off in Colombia?
Yeah, so I was trying to look at the website myself, and so one of my regrets was the amount of time that I'm just sitting there staring at my phone to help map. We wanted to have as much interaction and try and get people to donate, as make that as seamless as possible. And so the way to do that was to have the experience really pan out, where they're donating and they could see live that it was coming down. So there were internet issues at times, and there was also wanting to cover other things that were happening at the event, so it wasn't just on the mural the entire time. There was a lot of footage from the classes that were happening, and we had a lot of the kids there where they were creating Bitcoin related art, and so camera was panning around, and there were some distractions, but yeah, in general it worked out. So there were also people donating on the side and not doing the interactive part. But yeah, that was the idea. So they would click, and we use BTC Pay server for the payments, and so you can click donate to that particular bolivar. I would then get wind of it on my phone, and then me or some of the Venezuelans would go up the ladder and then take it off on the wall.
So now, did you have to put all those bills back on the painting when you were done? Did you leave with it back on? Did you leave with it like reassembled?
No, it's down. Saved a couple of pieces. Like, we tried to motivate donors by offering like a couple prizes.
Yeah, I saw that. I was wondering, are you giving away the panels or the pieces of dollar bills or something?
Yeah, it was like a section, so not a full like panel. It was what I thought was like something that looked aesthetically like you might want to have in your house, and so like it ended up being like the eyes.
Yeah.
Thank you for your donation, by the way, everybody. Skrilla came through with some funds, and much appreciated.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to see. Your artwork's always a cut above, like in terms of the different elements and aspects of it. It's not just an art piece, but like you said, activism and stuff that has to do with Bitcoin and how it works and stuff like that. So, you know,
Thanks, man.
pretty amazing stuff. Speaking of which, I mean, you mentioned it a second ago, but the Black Swan piece too is kind of another genius piece that you did. And maybe I'm wrong, I don't think so, but is that basically this cheapest piece of art ever sold that's not free?
Yeah, as far as I know, you know, there are some people who are like, you got to contact Guinness, and I did that.
How's that work?
I know. I think it's kind of just this, it evolved into this thing where it's like a business for them, where you need to like pay money to apply. So, but yeah, someone was like, it's probably the cheapest transaction ever in general, not just
yeah.
Pretty cool.
In general, sure, right? Yeah, and that's something like when people are like, oh, Bitcoin, like that's something I show them now. It's like, yo, this couldn't have happened without Bitcoin and Lightning, like, period. Like the cheapest piece of art ever sold.
Yeah.
What that means or whatever, I don't know, but it's definitely something that makes you think, and it's like, you know, opens up Pandora's box a bit.
That's totally the idea. It was less about me losing money on his artwork. It was more about trying to get people to think, and in terms of micropayments, which are I'm blown away by it. It was a big motivation for me to get into the space, and it constantly fascinates me. And I'm working on a project right now I got to give a huge shout out to Jan Prisker, who donated his time to do the interactive mural portion of this. So in all the chaos that came with putting this together, he was the cool head who not only just did this out of sheer goodwill, but did it in a chaotic environment and on a short time frame. And so big shout out to Jan. He has a pretty awesome book that's in e-form that you should check out as well, that I'm blanking on the title, but you can see it on Amazon under his name. And so he and I are working on a project that's related to micropayments, and also this collaborative art that I'm talking about. So this idea of grouping people together to help fund artist projects, and the power that can come with little amounts of money that in aggregate might mean something to an artist to provide an additional revenue stream, is big for me. And using this technology in ways that are new to help get artists paid, and there's some other side benefits to it as well that with this particular project will come to light soon. But yeah, it just blows my mind. I'm bullish on micropayments and Lightning, and yeah, super exciting times.
Nice. Let's see. You left with 90 pounds of bolivars. Like, was that something you were down? Yeah. Are you bullish on the currency, or we need some investment advice here? Or?
Yeah. So I've tweeted about this suitcase full of bolivars that amounted all of like $100, and how the overweight fee was triple that. I have this. I'm not sure if do you know Tara Donovan, the artist? She has a lot of work in the Denver Modern Art Museum, and she's an inspiration. She uses found objects and does large scale work, and for instance, just tens of thousands of straws, and putting those together to make contemporary sculpture. Yeah, so I really love her work, and I want to do something with the bolivars, and much like straws, which well, maybe not like straws, because straws actually are serving a purpose, but just using these mass amounts of paper in sculptural work. And so I'm going to repurpose these into a project. And yeah, I just needed to get them back, and there's no easy way. The currency controls that Maduro has put in place with Venezuela mean that your best bet for getting these back into the U.S. are to get them through a Colombian border town. And so the aforementioned fixer guy who was really instrumental in helping us get this event off the ground in Cucuta helped me find them, and then very last minute we were able to get those on the plane. And so yeah, got them here, and when time allows, I'll be doing a project with those.
So that's what's up. Now you've done pieces on Jamie Dimon in the past, some crypto art pieces, and recently JPM coin was launched. Do you have any thoughts on that cryptocurrency using these quotes here?
Yeah, I think the only redeeming factor in it or Facebook coin is just bringing awareness. Cryptocurrency, one of these things where the internet will allow for the conversation where other people chime in with why this isn't the right way to go. And so it's going to bring up the discussion, which is a good thing. I think it's only a matter of time before they don't work out. Maybe Facebook in some permutation, is too early to tell what's going on there, what they have planned. But in terms of Diamond's coin, anything that's really related to what he's got going on and trying to do a cryptocurrency, I don't see panning out well.
Yeah. All right. As far as Bitcoin weird, what comes to mind when you hear Bitcoin weird? The term.
Bitcoin weird to me is like going back to the roots. It kind of reminds me of that Steve Jobs quote about misfits, where in the early days it was people who themselves are weird to even want to get involved with this idea, right? If you're using something like the Silk Road, maybe you're weird. Maybe if you're using product from the Silk Road, you'll have weird experiences. But it's not the norm. Like, so if you dissect it, Bitcoin as a concept in and of itself is very weird. It's very different. And to me, weird is good. So it's going against the grain. If you're not weird, you're just kind of the norm, basic. And so Bitcoin weird means the early days, and I love everything about that, because you tend to find the people who are more set in their philosophies and ways and really passionate about what they're doing. And yeah, I think that's what I love about this space is these hard-nosed individuals who really believe in stuff, and here's the reasons why. And yeah, I'm stoked for seeing how this is going to pan out for you.
Yeah, me too. Let's see. You did also recently, I saw a Satoshi white paper piece. I think you cut up dollar bills. Is that what it was?
Yeah, so that was the abstract of the white paper, just completely made from USD dollar bills. And that was a commission, and took a long time and happy with how it turned out. So there's kind of a hidden feature on the back of the original artwork, which I haven't shown yet, which I will for this other project that I mentioned that Yan and I are working on. It's almost like a Patreon-esque, where if you get involved, then you can see a director's cut type of what was going on with the artwork. So yeah, so that was a piece that took a good amount of time to put together, and then I ended up doing prints, and I want to just provide like a weird experience with even just like print and try and do something that's unique too. And so the prints, which I have not really talked about outside of my newsletter, it was a run of 21, and they're backed. On the flip side of the print is an actual uncut sheet of currency from the mint, and then there's some embellishments on the print as well. So there's actual fiat used within the print. So in terms of the edition number and some of the like the Bitcoin logo, yeah. So that was a fun one. I'm happy with how that one turned out.
Yeah, that's dope. I want to get one of those. I need a bull run real quick. I need Daddy Bull Run to come help me buy some crypto art.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah. What else here? Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, one question here. You got a gun to your head. Bitcoin BSV or Bitcoin ABC?
Shoot Toby twice. Neither. Like, just kill me.
Damn.
Yeah, I haven't even kept up. It's one of the. It's like the Mad Men. I don't know if they were in an elevator, but that meme where like I don't think about you at all. Like,
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. There's some interesting. I saw at the TAB conference they had a discussion. It was supposed to be Bitcoin versus ABC versus BSV. They had Kevin Pham, Daniel, the guy that's the last emperor of Bitcoin, guy from ABC named Colin, and Zach, who calls himself a Bitcoin extremist. But the Bitcoin guy ended up moderating somehow, and it was two BSVers versus the Bitcoin Cash ABC guy. It was pretty entertaining, I must say.
It's online?
Yeah, it's online. It's on the TAB website, I think.
I'll say just a little bit more about it. Like, I think network effect is gigantic in this space, and to unseat Bitcoin like purely on network effect alone is a huge undertaking, and that's not even speaking to the people that are involved with the different projects. And so if I wanted to go, well, yeah, the motivation and some of the things that I've seen other projects do in terms of how they market doesn't make me want to like get involved or pay attention to it. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Sure. Yeah. What is on the horizon for 2019 for you?
I've got. I'm fortunate to have commission work that keeps me busy. I mentioned the project that's it's going to be Lightning based. That's providing a way for artists to have a different revenue stream, and hopefully come June we'll be announcing stuff around that. Just in general, it might be too early to benefit a ton of artists, but it's something that I want to pursue and see come to light. And yeah, there's just no shortage of ideas, like almost to a fault, where I'm not like sleeping enough, where the space is just so damn exciting. Like there's so much constantly going on that it means like there's a ton of ideas, and the technology is evolving, and I'm really feeling lucky to have people that are wanting to work with me on different stuff. So the Venezuela project was a good example where I have my limitations in terms of what I can do on the programming side. And but I have concepts that because of the space that we're in definitely need some help there. So with Black Swan and then this Venezuela project, the idea has been able to come out and be what I had envisioned through partnering with others, which is huge to me because I'm typically working on my own here in the studio and have these concepts that I wouldn't be able to do on my own. So it's just big, especially like living in San Francisco and not programming and being one of these idea guys or whatever.
Yeah.
To get to that point, I think it's awesome. And so definitely love the support and appreciate it from people who've asked to get involved. And yeah, so just in general, I think that art, I truly believe, is a way to bring this to the masses. I feel like we're one big stunt away from like gigantic recognition from the people about what this can do.
Yeah.
And whether it's me or some other artist who pulls it off, and it's gonna be big. It's similar to Bitcoin sign guy type of thing. That to me was art. You know, it's performance art. And, that there's no shortage of ideas there. It's just like which one is really going to take. So yeah, I love like brainstorming about that and thinking about ways to try to draw attention to people who would be new to the space. So yeah, just juggling some commission type work with these bigger ideas, which are like personal projects, and yeah, just loving it, man.
That's what's up. Real quick too, I guess. Let me ask 2 questions. What's your thoughts on tokenizing art, that stuff going on? Tokenizing digital art.
I'm all about it. I think like scarcity. I don't think money makes the world go around. I think it's scarcity. You know, everything that we do in life, behind it, scarcity tends to be involved. If you go like to like primitive in terms of like real estate and wanting to have the best shelter that protects you from other people with spears, to blocking people out of your Instagram photo when you're on the beach, so you pretend you're in a in a more higher end resort than you actually are. It's in every aspect of life. People want to feel special in general, and they should. Like you should feel like unique, and that you have this art that you've been willing to invest in and support an artist who's committed to being an artist, which is tough in many ways. So I love the idea of it, and it's more difficult in terms of the physical realm, which is more where I play. And trying to make sure that this work is verifiably rare, but there are strides that are being made on that end.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, on physical art being tokenized?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much just skepticism in our space in general, as there should be when you're dealing with trying to transform money. So having a piece, like just knowing that a piece changed hands and mapping that with the blockchain is kind of the big like issue, right? So the initial startups in the space weren't necessarily addressing that, but they were providing a service that was better than the status quo, which was having this random certificate of authenticity that's folded in half in the back of your desk. So I think you need to look at it in terms of like, is it better than what the current solution is? And I think the answer is yes, and getting better day by day. So there are projects that are doing things, for instance, like attaching NFC chips to the back of the works. That's probably going to be proximity based in the not too distant future. And yeah, it's just evolving. It's still early days in that respect. On the digital realm, a lot easier to grok. And I think like the big bottleneck is just ease of like display, like having like Mural, for instance, is a company that provides these really cool what look like artist frames that make the art look traditionally like artwork rather than like a display from your computer. I think the more that we can get those up and running and bigger and in more homes, and I think what we're going to see in like the future is like, imagine that you go to a club. And if we're talking about exclusivity and verifiably rare, clubs kind of like fit that mold, right? And so this club has a gigantic, a beautiful high-res display, and they're the only ones that own this retina artwork. So it's you can only see it, this digital work, if you go to this particular venue. So I think right now, like, we're limited to seeing it on our phones and possibly computers, but maybe they'll sell as like a kit where it's like just this display comes with this art, and you know, it's exciting. I'm super bullish on it. I've only dabbled in it myself because I do more of the atoms versus the bits, but I love it. I love every aspect about it.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. All right, well, thanks again. First guest on Bitcoin Weird. Appreciate it. We'll be looking out for your stuff. There'll be some links, and you can get the full interview in Bitcoin Weird magazine.
Nice. Thanks, Grilla. Much appreciated.
Appreciate you, bro.
Likewise.
You can't smoke. You can't smoke.